A dizziness isn't just a nuisance. It can completely hijack your life, leaving you unsure of your body, anxious in public, constantly searching for answers that never quite explain what you're feeling. Many patients with chronic dizziness throughout the years, and it's hard to really get to the bottom of it with traditional methods. So at the Dearing Clinic, we take a different approach. Vertigo and chronic dizziness aren't always caused by problems in the inner ear, like we might think of crystals in the ear. In fact, some of the most stubborn cases that we see come from a breakdown in the gravity perception system, a network of structures in your inner ear that calculate in your brainstem and take into account the eyes and the neck information, gravity information, and autonomic nervous system blood flow to the brain. And they help you understand where you're at in space. So it's when these systems stop agreeing with each other. The result is confusion, not just in your head, but it's also your entire sensory map of the world around you gets skewed because the brain's trying to compensate. And one common but often overlooked cause is cervicogenic vertigo, or cervicogenic dizziness, as the literature calls it. This happens when the upper neck, especially after a trauma like accident or whiplash, this upper cervical spine stops sending positional signals to the brain, and the calculator doesn't match up. So your brain relies on this upper neck and the rest of your neck to really stabilize eye movements, posture, and orientation to gravity. And so if the messages from your neck don't match with your inner ear or your vision, then your brainstem loses coherence and balance. And it's that mismatch that creates dizziness and nausea, and light sensitivity, panic attacks, and brain fog. Our most recent example is a patient who had a motor vehicle accident, who'd been struggling for months now with dizziness and disorientation and trouble driving. Her symptoms weren't explained by basic imaging or the ENT evaluations that she went to. But when we tested her joint position reflexes, we found consistent overshoot, that her head couldn't land on a target with her eyes closed. So her brain couldn't track her head's true position in space. Her QEEG, or brain map, showed disrupted processing in the central hub of where we feel like we're at in space, and its connection with the coordinators. And they all integrate gravity and perception and motion detection. Essentially, this wasn't just a vestibular problem. With a concussion and a whiplash, it becomes a system-wide failure in spatial orientation. Very often, folks who've had head injuries or whiplash, they can recover and feel fine for a while. And then years later, they might develop chronic dizziness because of chronic compensations that have happened. So that's why we don't guess. We measure, we treat what we measure. We start with advanced testing like eye tracking, joint position testing, brain mapping, balance assessments, and sometimes autonomic assessments if the patients are dizzy in multiple ways. So when these systems are out of sync, we can customize a treatment plan to bring them back into sync by using all of that data. These strategies for treatment might include vestibular and visual and cervical spine rehabilitation, hyperbaric oxygen therapy to reduce inflammation in the inner ear and the brain, and create a system of neuroplasticity training to recalibrate the nervous system to gravity. And other supportive therapies like mindfulness and nutrition and metabolic support will help stabilize the system from the inside out. So one thing I know for sure is balance is not restored in these cases by trial and error or massage therapy or chiropractic adjustments. We have to rebuild it one signal at a time, and often multiple pieces need to come into play. So if you've been struggling with dizziness that no one can explain, or you've been told it's just in your head, or you're going to have to learn to live with it, or it will go away, we've heard that story before, and we're here to help you find out the real reason why you might be dizzy.